All right, good morning again. My name is Rob. I will be attempting again to moderate. I ask for a lot of grace and patience. It's not my favorite hat. If you all would bow your heads, we could pray together to open this meeting. Dear Lord God, first and foremost, we want to ask that and tell you that we love you, and that in this time and all times, everything we do to glorify you in our desire and walk to seek more truth out, to come closer to you and to each other, and just to align us with your will. We pray that we use grace and good communication, as we were learning about today, to have a great meeting. In your name, amen. All right, do I have a motion to accept the minutes from last meeting? Thank you, Alan. Thank you. And all aye, yes? Any opposed? No? Thank you. Actually, is Sam is here. Thank you. Thank you. And then we can get right started. All right. So we can start off with the Board of Deacons report. Rob, will you please come up? Thank you, Rob. This quarter, it pretty much is the same. We continue discussion, planning, and praying regarding the progressions and growth of the church, members' concerns, issues, and cares, decisions, changes considered and voted on. And you could read so on. It's the same, but more importantly, I wanted to talk about and stress about what the deacons are really, really looking to do in our quest. And I mentioned this last time I was up here. We have concerns, as we all have issues. We have things going on, if it's money, if it's marital, for example, we all have that couple we think about, and it's the husband, or it's the wife, or it's both, and they're just not being who they should be. And, even if it's just one, you pray for the one that's hurting, and you pray for the other to repent. But here as a deacon board, come to us so we can help you in whatever you're going through, please. And that's my spiel. Also, this isn't part of the Board of Deacons meeting report, but just as a whole, there are some vacancies in some committees here and there. So we're hoping and praying that those will be filled come January. So if you could start giving it some thought and prayer where God may want you to be and serve in this church. And I know some of us have, some people have come to me, I've come to myself and said, I'm hoping and praying that other people will step into roles so some of us could pull back a little bit, so we could be a stronger family together, so we're not coming and showing up on Sundays tired and weary, but giving our best to the Lord and to each other. And that's the deacon's report. And when you have time, you could look at the Deacon's Fellowship Fund. Board of Trustees, Alan, would you like to come up, or? Just for you.
We Italians are used to talking with our hands, not holding something in our hands, so I don't know how this is going to go. I keep doing this already. So forgive me, I'm not used to holding a microphone. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, Joe Keppel, Rich Kugley, Bob Ruddy, Luke Greeley, Pastor Matt, of course, and myself, thank you for attending the business meeting and for all of your help throughout the year, both financial and physical. As usual, there's lots to be done here at the church, always. Old things become new and broken things get fixed, and that's what the trustee board is all about. I also wanted to greet the people that are on the YouTube link to the meeting today. Didn't want to forget you. Hello. You're probably all wondering, what am I doing up here? If you remember the last meeting, I had said that October 1st would be my last time. And Joe Keppel reminded me, although October was when I started on the trustee board, so I naturally thought October would be the end of it years ago. But Joe Keppel reminded me that the boards and the committees appoint their people in the month of January. So I'm here till January. Just so, right. And now for some bad news. The trustees, we don't have a video to present to you this time. And nobody's more disappointed in that than myself, because a lot of effort goes into those videos that you all remember the past couple of years, that we've shown the work that was done here at the church, so that everybody knows where their donations and who fund different projects, where all that goes to. Unfortunately, my computer hard drive crashed, and everything on my desktop disappeared forever. And so there is a great lesson in that it's painstaking to have lost all of the trustee information that I've accumulated over the years. All of the past videos are gone. A lot of stuff is gone. But in the days that came after that happening, I thought there's a good lesson here in holding on to things that we think are so important, and when really everything is replaceable. It could all be traced back and maybe some videos found again. The things that are in my files I put there, not necessarily looking at them, but intending to and never doing it. So I decided to go with that line of thinking and create new files and new information to save on my computer and do a better job at backing it up. So with that, because we have no video to show and I lost all the information, I asked Pastor Matt if he could help me out with some bullet points on what the trustees were up to, and he was gracious enough to do that. I did add a few things that I started to. Your bullet points prompted me on a few things, so towards the end, I have an addition to what the bullet points are. So I'll just read the bullet points to keep the meeting moving, and then, of course, when I'm finished, then we can get into some questions about what's going on here at the church. Okay, so the trustee board, we meet the fourth Sunday, or the fourth Tuesday of every month, and we've been talking about a lot of things. We talk about a lot of things every meeting, but our big focus we're working on is the state of affairs on the exterior of our building here at the church. We did solicit some quotes for this large-scale project. For the exterior trim work, everything that's yellow on the outside of the building, whether it's windows or the fascia boards, the lower boards, everything yellow, that needs to be prepared, scraped, sanded, and painted. The other part of this large project is the shingles, the exterior shingles, from probably about here to there on 3rd Avenue to the front of East Highland and across East Highland. That's what we're looking at replacing. I don't have to get into the condition of them. If you just go out and look for yourself, you'll see that our building is in need of repair, and sooner than later. So we've been talking about that for quite a few months now, and we've moved ahead. We have received one quote from a company called Alpine, painting and sandblasting contractors. They're out of Paterson, New Jersey. And we're waiting for another quote from a company called Shorelands Construction, who will be coming out shortly to give us an on-site survey. And then we have some real good idea of costs for a project of this size. There's not too many people out there to get quotes from because of the special needs that a building of this size requires. So that's going on with that, and we talking about obviously the funding for this project. It's It's going to be an expensive project for sure. And so we're talking about planning how we're going to go about doing that, where the money's going to come from over an extended period of time, perhaps breaking the project up into portions, still under discussion, still waiting for quotes. We did get the one quote though, and personally I was quite pleased with what I'm seeing so far as the bottom line number on the one vendor's quote. We also talked about and discussed the exterior basement steps. Everybody's familiar with our basement steps that are on the east side of the building, right over here. The wall, the steps are fine, but the wall, as you go down the steps, is collapsing. It's got a big bow in it from the dirt coming this way at it, coming this way. The wall has bowed, and although it's been probably that way for many, many years, it needs to be fixed. The bricks are coming out of it, there's holes in the wall, it's just not a good thing. We decided we got quotes on them, we got 3 or 4 quotes to have that replaced, and we decided to not address that at this time, to kind of table it because of the big job of the shingles and the trim work. That's what we refer to the job as. That the money should probably go there before we fix the stairway wall. We also talked about Matt's suggestion of putting a side patio in the driveway, at the far end of the driveway, which I think is a very good idea. I think it would be, it would create usable space for all kinds of things, picnics, outdoor Bible studies, you name it. We also decided to table that. We did get quotes on that as well, and everything is expensive today, as you know. And we felt that that money on that project would also be better spent on the exterior projects of the building. We had an agreement with the AA group down below that meets in the basement. They came to me with a proposal to redo the closets that's down there. I don't know if anyone knows the closet that's in the AA room. It's opposite where the furnace room is, on the kind of near the AA entrance steps. So they offered to demolish the interior of it, paint it, clean it up, and reinstall new shelving if we would pay for the material. And that sounded like a good deal to me because it needed to be done. So they agreed to do that, and they did a great job. If you're down in the basement and you want to check it out, I think you should, so that you can see what's going on. And we thank them for that. We thank them very much for that. We also received a lawsuit regarding a person who fell on the steps as they were making their way down to the AA meeting. There's not much to report on that. I was involved with the insurance company, and it's in their hands, and I've not heard anything more about that, other than that it's still ongoing affair. An unfortunate situation. Our stairwells meet all requirements, and handrails, no obstructions, clear signage around. So I don't know what's going to come of that, but we'll let you know when we hear what goes on with that. Our custodian went off to college, and Bob and Sam Talmadge have stepped into that role. So thank you, Bob and Sam, for keeping our church nice and clean so that we can enjoy a good surrounding when we come to worship God every Sunday and every day during the week. Thank you for that. And please let Jasper know that we thank them as well. Appreciate it. We engaged in conversation with Dan DeLucia about their occupation of the parsonage, sharing the garage space and the responsibilities, etc., to provide clarity to both the church and the DeLucias. We continue to provide upkeep for the property and perform minor repairs. This is the part that I included, I finally remembered. And I may have left a few things out, I'm sure I did. The baptistry behind us, nobody ever gets a chance to really look in there unless you're going to be baptized, or you see it from this angle. But it had been cleaned out and repainted several times over. And we've tried real hard to stop the small leak that we've had for 125 years. And it still is there. But we did what we've done for 125 years. We put a bucket in the basement to catch the drip. And then when it's over, it goes away until next time. The 3rd Avenue stairwell has been cleaned and painted. We have a new tower light timer installed by our electrician, who has been doing a lot of electric work here at the church. The new tower light timer is an important factor because if it's not working, we have no light to beam out to the community as to where we are and who we are. So that's now working perfectly. It's located in the vestibule closet. We've had our 3rd Avenue upper stained glass window has been temporarily fixed. It's over on 3rd Avenue side. It had to be fixed, and thank you, Bob Ruddy, for repairing that, a temporary fix. It speaks to the condition of the church and the ongoing talks about this large project that has to take place sooner than later. We don't want our windows to fall out, and on top of all of the trim work and everything that needs to be done, we also have like beehives in the back gutter and birds in the church, and it's time to move our focus to that project. The floor grates that you walk past, they've all been lifted up, and on the inside where the, I guess it's the, what they call it, the ductwork, has all been cleaned and vacuumed, and over the years there was like 2 inches of packed in dust that had to be removed in each and every grate, and then each and every floor grate was then painted. And it's something that you don't really see or notice, but when you look at the floor grates, you'll notice, like, ooh, nice and shiny. We've also had the electrician come in and upgrade our electrical panel in the downstairs furnace room, which is where they are. We had run out of electrical lines coming in to the building in order to do what our electrical requirements called for. So it was necessary to have them come in and put in a brand new panel next to the existing panel. So now we have extra room to do electrical things as they come up. Lastly here, the National Wildlife Federation has recognized Central Baptist Church as a certified wildlife habitat because of the beautiful gardens that Karen and Bob Ruddy have created and maintained. Thank you, Karen and Bob. I also want to mention Rich Kugeli, who is also, if you drive by, you'll not only see Karen and Bob, but you'll see Rich out there tending to the gardens as well. So thank you, Rich. Now, that's the end of my paperwork report. I'll ask the Board of Trustees if there's anything that I've forgotten that you might want to include or let the church body know that took place this year. I think we covered most of it. And if not, oh, John? Thank you. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that. It's been a good experience for me working with my brothers and sisters here at the church. It's not just me, it's all of us. each and every one of us had a great big part in putting this church and the parsonage and the grounds it sits on back together. And we're facing a new era, new generation of pastors, and we hope to continue all of the work that it takes to keep a building of this size up. And I had a great time. It was stressful at times, as anybody knows, going through construction work and that sort of thing. But it's God's work, and He led us through all of it, and He made all of this happen, and will continue to make it happen for our church here. So thank you for that, John. Questions for anybody, or anyone have questions? I'm going to come over here because of my hearing, just in case I... Well, I'll be happy to answer that first, and then we can ask Bob and Sam themselves. I did speak via text or email, I forget, with Bob about that, and I don't remember his words verbatim, but he did say that him and Samantha will be sure to make sure our church is clean for us each and every week, and I took that as they would be continuing to be our custodians as well as all the other things they do. So are you guys on board with that? Bob, are you sleeping? Okay, you're sleeping. Samantha, what do you say? Yes to that. Okay. Thank you, Bob and Samantha. Are there any other questions about the exterior, the building, and all of that, because that is our next focus. And I don't know if Matt will address anything on the plans on how we're going to do fundraising for that, but because of the large number, we're going to have to decide as a church. Pardon me? Well, we only got one so far. Give me a second here. The quote, as you can imagine, I'm sorry, what's your name? I don't think I know you. Stephen. Stephen? Stephen, everybody. Stephen, the project is divided into two portions, the shingles and the exterior trim. The exterior trim, which would include prepping and painting, came to a total of $70,482. The shingles, separately quoted, as I described, comes to $78,104. That total is $148,586. Now, I think our board has agreed to, when we go to fundraising process, to jump that number up to at least, I don't know, 175, 200 maybe, because there's, as you can imagine, the quote is from Alpine, the one that we have in our hands, is like a 6-7 page quote. It's so detailed and so spelled out specifically, including costs that may occur above what they've quoted. For example, the crane that will be needed to be hired to go to the top of the tower is a $17,000 cost per month. And so the Board of Trustees has been discussing all different ways on how to approach this project. It makes sense to us to try to combine the two projects together so that the crane, the $17,000 cost on the crane, will be a one-time cost. If we do just the trim and have to have the crane to do that too, and then a year later do the shingles, or a month later do the shingles, or 2 months later, we'll have to have the crane back in at another $17,000. So If we can save $17,000 by having the crane here once to do everything, that would make sense. So we're still in discussion about that, and we really, I had a talk with Dave Scaturo, is the gentleman's name from Alpine, and Rich Kugeli and I met with him here at the church when they came. We were both very impressed with his presentation and his knowledge of what they do. And this is just what they do. They do churches, they do towers, they do tall buildings, they do large-scale warehouses. This job is suited for them. I called him yesterday just to keep him on the line to let him know that we're still entertaining other bids or other proposals, and he was very thankful that we got back to him and didn't leave him hanging in the wind, which is something that can happen because churches take their time in deciding to do projects. And I really would encourage the church body to seriously think about ways to fund this project, because it does need to be done, and we don't want to keep any vendors hanging on the line waiting for us to make a decision. I think the decision's pretty clear just by looking at the outside of the building. I also spoke to Shorelands Construction. His name is Brian, and Brian is going to be sending out someone by the name of Leo shortly to do a site survey for the same walkthrough that Rich and I did with Alpine. So that when that happens, I'm not sure, but it'll be soon. I hope that answers your question, Steve. Okay.
Could the lawsuit that's pending have financial implications for the church, or is that just something for the church to think about? Do we expect that there's a lawsuit that succeeds when the insurance company pays for all of it, or do we expect that to have a budgetary implication for the church?
Are you talking about the lawsuit?
The lawsuit.
The insurance company, if they decide to pay, then they would pay the full amount. Would not come out of our church. Okay. Although it opens up the discussion as to, are premiums going to go up? Typically they do. Hopefully they don't, but typically they do. I did supply the insurance people with pictures of the steps and pictures of everything to show them that it's a clear entryway, and to my knowledge, nobody's ever tripped down the stairs all these years. We're not sure what happened there, but, and there's parts to the story that I don't need to get into, but I can talk to you privately about it. Yeah. Yes, Sam? You mean like maybe making it all white? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm. Well, we'll talk about that at our next meeting, which is coming up soon. And there are all kinds of exterior, modern, new shingles of all kinds of colors. It's an array of choices. The only issue, Sam, with changing what's there now is the back half of the church is in good shape and doesn't need any fixing. It may need some fixing here and there. So now we're gonna, if we choose to do something different in the front half, it won't match the back half. So that would be the only issue, unless we can get something in a different color that's close enough to the back, but that's kind of dark too. Yeah, that would be an issue. Yeah, Bob. Hey, welcome back, Bob.
Yeah. Have we given consideration to writing grants or something, historical buildings?
We
ABCNJ, something. I thought I heard ABCNJ was helping churches do renovations, but I could be wrong.
We talked about that, and I believe Luke Greeley had mentioned something about grants, and I don't want to put Matt Jensen on the spot here this morning. Forgive me if I am, but we also thought maybe you could help us in that regard as far as how to go about getting grants or looking into getting money for a historic building like ours, church repairs. I don't know if that's in your bailiwick or if that's anything that you do, but. I'm sorry?
I'm happy to help with research, researching what kind of grants might be available and submitting applications to the ones that are relevant.
Oh, good. Well, thank you, Matt. So, yeah, if anyone has any ideas about grants or how we can get some money to pay for this big project, let us know. Yeah, because we're gonna need all the help on this one. Yeah. Any other questions for the trustees? We got one more. Yeah.
I do know that the Historical Society, they're running into a problem with their roof, I was told last year, that they have to kind of do it exactly the way it was, and finding the craftsmen for that, and the funding for that has been kind of a struggle for them.
Yeah, yeah, it's an issue. It's an important issue. It's a very important issue. Yeah, yeah. Is there anyone monitoring the YouTube channel? Is there any questions on the YouTube people? No questions? This is why I was always told to have a handkerchief in my pocket. How did I know? Pardon me while I do a little housekeeping. It's clean, it's clean. You'd never know it spilled. And thankfully, it was just water. So the rug's been baptized. Last minute questions before we roll on with the meeting? Santo, a new member, any questions from you? And Donna, anything that's on your mind?
I remember mentioning before, there's up at where I'm from in Pennsylvania, there's a church, Presbyterian Church, and they got a lot of grants for sacred spaces, it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
and they did a lot for the church.
Yeah.
Start there.
Well, our trustee board is capable, and we'll do all we can to find out all the information we can to move this project forward. And if we have to reach out to them and see how they did it, that's what we'll do. So, Larry, anything from you?
Oh, I was just gonna say, who knows what the original color of the church is? I mean, it's one of the black and white pictures, it was darker, it was lighter, so I don't know what the exact color it really is, it has to be the color of the
Yeah. Yeah. So give it some careful and prayerful thought, and reach out to all of us on the trustee board and let us know what you think, because it's going to take the community to get this job done. And so with that, I'll turn it over to the next person.
All right, I have a microphone. So I am not the chair of the Mission and Evangelism Committee. Bart Lentini is, but Bart, just keep this in your prayers. Bart's one of our members. Bart's dad, Bart, who is also one of our members, he's dealing with a lot of health issues, and he's kind of in and out of the hospital a lot for pain management and things like that. And Bart Jr., who's the chair of this board, he is very occupied with taking care of his dad. So, I mean, his mom, for Linda. So pray for all of them, but pray for Bart as well. Before I mission and evangelism, I just want to say a few things about the trustees. Alan, we know that losing a computer is really just the worst. I mean, it's the worst. I can't imagine. And so all those videos are lost and whatnot, right? But because of your work and all of the trustees' work, we can sit in the middle of the thing, right? And so those videos might be lost, and we could find maybe, but we get to come here and enjoy the fruit of your labor every week, every day. And so, you know, thank you. Yeah, so on to missions and evangelism. This board, the job of this board is to support missionaries who are local and non-local around the world, and we do that with a budget that we have. It's 10% of our church's budget goes, or 10% of the prior year's giving, that number goes towards outside missionaries, organizations that are doing good work. We've been doing that and continue to do that. So that's one of the things we do, and to support that, we have drafted a letter. It hasn't gotten sent to all of them yet, but we wanted to hear more, if in person possible, or on video if not, to hear more from our missionaries and the organizations, to hear what they're doing and whatnot. So we hope to have more of that. I talked to Santo. Santo's organization, Healing Warriors, is one of the groups that we support, and he's going to talk about kind of what he does on a Sunday coming soon. On November 19th, the Cornfields, who are missionaries that we've been supporting here, I understand, for quite some time, they will be coming on November 19th and giving a little presentation about what they do. And then after the service, we'll kind of continue that in the craft room probably, if you want to, get the meet in, get the talk, get to hear more. So that's something that we've been doing. In support of those kind of outside organizations and missionaries, I had a chance, as I said in the sermon last week actually, I had a chance to go to Healing Warriors down at Soldier On and visit with Santo and Pete and the work that those guys have been doing with the veterans who live there. And I went to lead a Bible study, that's what I was asked to do, but it was also a really good chance to observe where our money is going, and our money is going to a really good place. Like that money that we give them every month, it pays for really, really good work. And so I'm really happy and pleased about that. And then we have only about $600 that's unallocated left for this year to give out. And my understanding is if we don't give that out to an outside organization or missionary, it goes to an ABCNJ fund, all right? So it'll probably be about $600 that goes to that we can try to budget differently next year. So that's outside organizations. The second thing we do is we lead local efforts of outward service and public witness. And when I think of public witness, I think of like the things we do outside of the church to get our name out, to try to meet people, to show that we're not just a Sunday church, but we're actually out there in the world. Things like Atlantic Highlands Day, things like being part of the Memorial Day parade, Memorial Day parade, 4th of July parade. Memorial Day or Memorial Day? And things like giving out Halloween candy, that's kind of included in that, right? So we've been doing and supporting those things. The gazebo services, in a way, were all opportunities for public witness, for getting outside and telling people that we exist, that we're, and a little bit about what we believe. But one of the main things we've been spending time on is talking about what are some new strategic ways we can reach people and serve people. And one of the challenges of a board like this is everyone has good ideas. I bet everyone sitting here has a good idea as to what the church could be doing. And the question that this board has to answer is, let's collect all those good ideas and let's come up with one or two that we can actually put some work into. And so we've been doing that over the last few months, and we've come up with a few things. One is we're going to invest some time and resources, and Rebecca and Kelly Taylor and Matt Jensen have been involved with this. We're going to invest some time and resources into doing something like a homework club after school for local kids who maybe just need a place to go to get some help with homework. I don't want to say tutoring. That's a little big for what it would be. But it would give kids a chance to come to a place and do some homework with some adults and guide and lead them and whatnot. There's a lot of planning that goes into that. There's a lot of questions to be answered. But we'll also be looking for some volunteers. One of the strengths of this church is so many educators and or retired educators who might be able to help with that. That was one of the reasons why we chose to focus in on that. So we're hoping to launch that in the new year, like early in the new year. You'll definitely hear more about that, but just wanted to get that onto the radar. And that's a chance for us to serve the community, especially the youngest people in our community, which is a way of saying to those families, we would love it if you came to our church, but we also just love to help you and love to support you. So that's something that we're kind of focusing on. The AACC, which is the Area Association of Christian Churches, we have a food pantry that's at the Methodist Church. It's housed there, but the pantry belongs to actually all the churches who are a part of it. And so we had a really good meeting last week to kind of put a little more structure on it and kind of figure out how we can utilize the food pantry more in the future and have more church involvement with it. And so we would love to be able to support the food pantry more. Steve LaGrice, who isn't here now, he's one of kind of the leaders of the food pantry. But Alan helps with the food pantry every week. Rich Kugley helps with the food pantry every week, and maybe a few others. I don't know, but we also support it with donations and all of that. If anyone wants to serve at the food pantry, and you have big, strong muscles, we could use a Wednesday morning help, and they also need help on Thursdays for other things. You could talk to Steve LaGrice or talk to probably Alan or Rich after the meeting if you're interested. So that's with the food pantry. And then we've had some other things that we're looking to focus on. Just some important ones to mention. Some opportunities to serve in the holidays. So every year we do the Operation Christmas Child. We're doing that again. Like I said, at the end of the service, we don't have the labels and the instructions yet. We'll get those hopefully by next week. Last year we did something called Christmas Connect shopping, where we connect with a local organization, like Neighbor, and they give us a list of families who don't have enough money to provide Christmas gifts for their kids. We collect money and then go shopping and then wrap together. We're going to do that again this year. Those details will be coming out in November. And then the other thing we are working on, and this is in conjunction with the other churches of the area, of Atlantic Highlands, is providing Thanksgiving meals to families in Atlantic and Highlands who would be in need. And so this is a joint effort of the churches along with the food pantry. We are basically getting like a Google order form into the hands of all of the families in those areas that would need it. It's all being done through confidential means, through the school nurses. I could bore you with the details, but I won't. The headline is, we hope to collect anywhere, I don't know, 20 to 40 people, so maybe 10 to 15 Thanksgiving meals, right? And some of those meals will be like frozen turkey, frozen corn, frozen everything, boxed everything. But some of them we actually hope to be able to cook, especially for people who don't have big families, right? They don't need full meals. And so the week before Thanksgiving, probably the weekend of before Thanksgiving, we'll definitely be looking for some help with like packing those meals, possibly preparing those meals, possibly delivering those meals. There's a whole lot of options there. So that's something that's coming up. And the neat thing about it is it's not just us doing it. We'll be doing it in conjunction with the other local churches and the food pantry. So I think that's really exciting. You could read the rest of the stuff on there for the outward service and public witness, and that's probably about it. Any questions?
If anybody decides that they want to be a homework helper or a tutor, please feel free to talk to any of the people on Missions and Evangelism, because we hope that there will be a lot of kids, and if there's just 3 of us, like we want to actually be able to help the kids, and it's hard because there's different grade levels, so it would be nice if we could either divvy up topic or by age level, so.
Oh, the other thing, thank you, Kelly. The other thing I wanted to mention is we want to find ways as a church to provide opportunities to serve outside of the building, to serve people in town. Maybe it's the town itself. Like we were trying to do this with like Habitat for Humanity, for instance, like having an afternoon, like a Saturday to go over there and help for a few hours. We want to try to provide opportunities like that for us to get out of the building and go serve elsewhere. And so if you see of any needs in town, in the area, that we might be able to come alongside and help, please please let me know, let the people from Mission and Evangelism know, because we'd like to be able to help people like that. All right, that is all for me, unless there's any more questions. All right, Rebecca is up for Board of Christian Ed.
All right, so there's a lot going on for our Board of Christian Ed, which is super exciting. So for kids, the big headline for kids is that we hired a nursery attendant. Her name is Daniela. She's really wonderful. She has 3 little kids at home, and she's been bringing her 4-year-old daughter because she actually really wants to she's like stepping her toes back in. She grew up in the church, and she was looking for some extra income, and so this was a good solution for her, so she could bring her daughter and she can serve and start learning the lessons she grew up with again. She has preschool experience. She's really great. So we're really grateful that she's here. She's been started. I interviewed her, and then she was approved by the deacon board, so she started in the beginning of the month, and it's been really going well. That preschool experience really came into handy today. We had a new baby in there, and she knew. She sent a picture of him playing to the parents so they felt at peace, and it was just like a good moment of this is the right fit. And her daughter today in class was like, I love this place. I was like, okay. So it's great. It's a good, if that's a way to get a family in, then that's great. If it's a way to get a nursery attendant, then that's also great. And if it's a way to do both for a while, then that's a double win. So we're really excited for that. And if you want to meet her, she's in the nursery, and I'm hoping to have her be able to stay 1 week and so she's around to get to know you guys and you can get to know her. Jean? Yeah. Yes, so they are. I'm prepping all of the lessons for them, and then I'm sending them to Daniela so she can look over them, ask me if she has any questions, so that she's using the GROW curriculum that we use with all of the kids. And it often needs to be adapted for the little ones. So I'm doing that work a month out, and then so they're learning the lessons, they're doing the crafts, we're working on getting the CD with all the songs in there so they hear the songs, so they will be hearing the lessons. And she's looking at them ahead of time and asking me questions about them, so that's great. Yeah, thank you so much for asking. That was a good question. Definitely want that, and that's why I was happy that she grew up in the Methodist church, so she does know the stories. She just is getting back into it as so many younger parents are. They're getting back into church. So that's the nursery attendant. If there's any other questions, please feel free to ask me. We have, in the last quarter, we had our outside services at the gazebo. It went really well for kids. They had a lot of fun. They love being outside, and it went well. We had parents of younger kids able to be on the playground and socializing, and so it was a good way to be in the community. The gazebo services were really fun, a lot of work, but very fun, and we still got to do our lessons, so that was a good experience. We have a couple of new teachers on Sundays. We actually have only 2 more empty Sunday weeks, so if you're looking to get into teaching and you secretly love preschoolers, let me know, and we would love to have a little extra help in that preschool class. And we also had our first super wildly awesome game night at the end of the summer, and it was actually really fun. We had a lot of families come together across multiple generations to play board games and video games with one another, and we will be having another one in the winter, and we're hoping, because it's not a Friday night in the summer, some more families from the community will come out because it's something to do in the middle of winter that's a lot of fun. We have a couple other events coming up. Halloween, we will be giving out the candy bars. We've gotten a bunch of donations, so thank you so much. That is awesome.
So we will be signing, there's still a sign up out there if you want to help hand them out. And Danny will be here for at least part of the time taking pictures of the kids, and then there will be a quick turnaround for him to send them out to the parents, and like he did at the Christmas pageant brunch last year, but this time on Halloween. So it's just a service that he can give to the community. So we're grateful that he can do that. In December, we will have our lighted up after party again after the tree lighting down in the basement. And then we will have another parents' night out. So parents can drop their kids off and either go on a date or, like, I don't know, go Christmas shopping, get some presents wrapped, which is a helpful thing as a parent. So we will have that sign-up list out in November if you would like to volunteer to help with Parents' Night Out. I'm also hoping to partner with the high school and have some of their National Honor Society Key Club members maybe come and get some volunteer hours at Parents' Night Out, which would also help bridge the gap for just meeting kids in the community for youth group events and getting to know them that way. A lot of the things that we're doing are to get out into the community and meet people so that this feels like a safe place. Like Sam was saying, it's sometimes a little intimidating, but if we can make it personal, then the church building itself becomes less intimidating. So a lot of what we will be doing over the next quarter is going out and doing things, especially to get to know the youth in the community and grow our youth group. We started meeting weekly this fall, and it's been really great. I feel like there's a momentum going, which is nice. The kids are building different relationships with one another, and we've had a couple of new kids. And one of the kids who started coming from town, the mom literally said, "It's so nice that it's every week. It's something for him to have." And so that is just a great testimony and opportunity for them to have a safe place to come every week where it's just a lot of fun. So that's 6th to 12th grade. Anybody is welcome. Show up. It's really great. We just went apple picking and pumpkin picking with the kids, and oh my gosh, they have so much energy, but they are so fun, and it was a good time to bond with one another. Over the summer, since the last business meeting, we also went on a retreat in partnership with New Monmouth Baptist Church, and it was a great weekend away. God was really, really present in a really amazing way. And one of the girls that we brought, she said, "You know, this is the first time that I went without my phone for more than an hour, and I didn't feel anxious." Like, that's something that this society and these youth today really need. So it's great that we can provide those spaces. Coming up, we're looking forward to more events for the youth, and we are planning a one-day Saturday retreat. So it's not a sleeping over retreat, it's just a one-day retreat where we will spend time intentionally with one another, talking through a Bible story with the students, and then probably going snow tubing and having some fun, and then having some more times for discussion. So we're excited for that because it can reach a different demographic who might not want to go away for a whole weekend. And also then we don't have to sleep on the floor again, so that's a win. So that's youth. And then what other big thing that Christian Ed has been working on is TEAM, which stands for the Emerging Adult Mission. And we got a $1,000 grant from the ABCNJ for that new ministry that we're starting here. Super exciting. So just to kind of flesh that out a little bit for you, it's Generation Z is the generation that would be emerging adults now. Emerging adults is 18 till 30-ish, or whenever you consider yourself not an emerging adult anymore. So I have two sisters who are 25 and 23, and they don't consider themselves emerging adults because they're married and have babies. But I have friends who are 29, and they're like, "I'm very much an emerging adult." So it really is like a self-declared thing. So that's why the age range is so large. But that generation, Generation Z, is very skeptical of organized anything, but they really care about service. And they want to be serving others. They're very service-minded. So having this missional community come together, and they are forming their own service team to go into the community. So the hope is that even if they are not church people, they will come together to serve. And we will have monthly dinners at our house, and we will talk through one of the many countless Bible stories that talk about service and mission. And as we talk through those stories, they will be hearing that the heart of mission and service really comes from Jesus. And that will be an introduction for some of them, or it can become a Bible study for others of them who might have experience in the church. And then from there, Dan and I, or if other people choose to join us on this mission, we will meet individually or in small groups with the emerging adults. And whether we're mentoring them or discipling them, it'll probably be a bit of both. The language we use will be different depending on where that person is in their life. But we'll meet with them in individuals and small groups to kind of help them grow as individuals. And then we will meet and come up with a service plan. So we will start in November 13th. I'm very excited for this opportunity to meet this really underserved generation. There is not a lot of churches in this area who have anything for emerging adults. And if they do, they're at least 25 minutes away. So in this Bayshore area, there is nothing for them. So this is a really great opportunity to serve them. If you guys have questions about that, please let me know. If you are itching to make a meal one month, I'm all for that. I don't mind using my crock pot, but I will not say no either. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. But we are starting in November, and we're excited for that. The Bible studies are happening. I don't know a ton about that, but we are looking for starting one in the evening within the next couple of months. I do know that. But I know they're doing well. I hear about them, and so that's great. I think that's all I got.
Thank you. Now, I don't claim to be an emerging adult, but up until when you said there'd be food, I am an emerging adult. Board of Hospitality report. Michelle, would you like to speak on that, or totally up to you?
Hi, everyone. I actually pictured myself tripping as I was coming up. Not my thing, so anyway. My board is Judy Taylor, Bev Camp, Bev Kugley, Rachel Gangley, G. Keppel, Karen Ruddy, Tammy Lavera, Ruth Romeo, and Bob Brooks. And we did meet this quarter. We continue to prepare the communion table monthly for our Sunday communions. And we continue to provide all the paper goods and the coffee and water, tea, all that for the fellowship time. I would love to encourage people to get a friend and sign up to bring something on a Sunday morning, because although if there's no food, people seem to still be happy talking and just having some coffee. But as you know, everybody here really does like to eat, because you see how the food goes. And if you're not a big cook, they can just be something simple, and if you do it with somebody else, it makes it much simpler and easy. You know, buy a few cookies, little fruit, people are happy. Let's see. Starting in November, we're doing teams that are going to rotate for greeting. But if you would be interested in helping out in greeting in the mornings, you know, talk to me and we'll be happy to put you on board. Because it would be nice to have at least 3 people so we can man each of the doors and just greet people as they come in, give them the bulletin, you know, just say hello, and it's a great way to easily start to get to know some of the newer people and a little bit more comfortable than just coldly walking up and trying to introduce yourself. So the other thing that we're trying to do is we're working on putting together a small kind of connection committee that will kind of help keep an eye on when people are missing and haven't been around, so that we can reach out to them and see, you know, if there is a need. Maybe they've been sick and they could use a meal, and so we can reach out then to people who would be willing to make a meal to drop off to them, or do they need help to a doctor's appointment, or, you know, anything. But we would like to put this little small committee together kind of in conjunction with some of the, you know, with deacons, you know, just to kind of be the eyes and ears a little bit, just to kind of help keep an eye on what's going on and be aware, because it's easy to kind of notice and then just forget. So this way, the people that haven't been around, whether they're sick or maybe they've just been on vacation and didn't let people know, but they know that they're cared about. And lastly, Bev Camp, on behalf of the Board of Hospitality and the church, has been sending out little cards to people that we haven't seen in a while, or that have just been doing things, and just letting them know how much we've missed them or we appreciate what they do. So that's, I think, pretty much everything. I don't know if anybody has questions or anything. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Is this working? Everybody hear me? Yeah. Yeah? Maybe? Okay. All right. Can't hear me? Hear me now? Hear me now? Yes. All right. Okay. So we're going to go over our third quarter year-to-date financial review. See if I can do this with the slides here. So we have our year-to-date revenue to start off with. So we finished the first the first 9 months of the year at $190,000 of income versus a budget of $178,000. So we exceeded budget by about $12,000 or 7%. Largely that was due to the offering envelopes. They were about up by $8,000. And we also had a higher net parsonage rental income of $4,000. That's largely due to the fact that we didn't actually had to pay our real estate taxes so far. We do have a bill that came in this month, though, so we'll be paying that. And then the next probably 2 quarters, we're looking to try to pay ahead of time. So by year end, that net rental income will just be actually on budget. So we'll lose that $4,000 favorable variance that we have right now. But again, it's a $12,000 increase over budget, or 7%. And moving on to the expenses side, we had $156,000 we incurred for the first 9 months versus a budget of $166,000. So we were $9,000 below in our spending for the year, which is about 6% below our budget. Largely that was due to administrative expenses being lower by about $4,000. So we have the open secretary position that pretty much accounted for that difference. And then we also have building a property, which was down about $5,000 from budget. That was largely due to our utilities being down for the year. So we've incurred less utility expenses so far this year. And then if we look at the net surplus, so we could see that we actually have a surplus so far for the year of $34,000. That compares to what we budgeted at this point in time of $13,000. So we're up $21,000 in our surplus for year to date. And then, so this chart is just a synopsis of what we were just talking about. So on the far left, we have the green bar, $190,000 of income. We have the red bars in the middle of $156,000. That's our spending. And then on the far right, we have the net $34,000 surplus, the smaller green bar. So that just kind of summarizes in one graph where we were and where we're at. So again, so this chart shows you how we're doing this year versus prior year. So again, the first column of the actual will just be a repeat of what we just shown of the $190,000 in income and the $156,000 in expenses. But we compare it to prior year. So at prior year, we had $144,000 at the same time last year in income. So that's a $46,000 increase. Now, out of that $46,000, I think it was like $23,000, or maybe even a little bit more, maybe $25,000 is related to the fact that we've got the parsonage rental income for 9 months this year versus I think it might have been a month or two last year at this point. So that counts for a big chunk of the 45. But if you take that 23 out of it, the equation, we're still up 14% over last year in our giving. And so when we compare our spending, we're at 156 again, versus last year at this time we had $128,000 of spending. So we're up $29,000 in our spending. However, 23 of that relates to the pastoral-related charges. So now this year we have 9 months of a full-time pastor. Last time this year we had 5 months of a full-time pastor. So we have 4 more months of a full-time pastor expense that accounts for that difference. So if we look at the surplus again, we're at $34,000 for this year. Last time this year we were at $17,000. So we've doubled our surplus this year versus last year. Okay, so then we go on to how are we trending? So on the far left, we started January, we had 15,000, and then we kind of, if you look at the far right, that highlighted yellow should be over the August. So you can see kind of we dropped a little bit. We were down at the gazebo. We had a little bit change in how we do the collection, that kind of a thing. So we did see a little bit of a drop off. Now if we look at the next slide, it shows you the 23 trend over the 22 trend. So the green line shows the year 23, and the red line shows the year 2022. And so, again, we've got, on the far left, we've got like big gaps between January, February, March, where you see the green lines far exceed the red lines. And then as we come closer to this time, on the far right, we see the gaps narrowing. And in fact, in August, we were actually about $1,000 lower than last year at this time. And so we've bounced back a little bit in September. October, we're probably on pace to do like about 15,000. So it's going to hopefully, and then normally we do have a strong November and December finish. So hopefully that will continue to be the case for this year. But it's something that we want to try to kind of keep vigilant about. So we've changed our operation of passing the plate and just having offering boxes in the back. Going on to the bank balances. So we start the year of our operating account at $131,000. We have that surplus we talked about of 34, that brings us up to the 165,000. The renovation account, we started at 71. We've added 10,000. We haven't incurred any expenses this year for renovation accounts, so that brings us to the 81. We have 202,000 total balances to start the year. The two surpluses of 34 and 10 equals 44. That gives us the total bank balances of 246. And so, again, this is just another chart. Turn it off. Oh, okay. This is another chart of the bank balances. So we just carved out the parsonage reserve. So there's like a $15,000 parsonage reserve fund that we carved out at the start of this year. So this just shows you the operating account without the parsonage reserve, 116, the surplus of 34, totaling the 150. And then we got the parsonage reserve of 15, and then the renovation accounts. And so we total bank balances of 202 plus the 44 surplus equals 246. One thing regarding the bank balances we just want to point out is that Wells Fargo is offering a one-year CD rate right now for balances. So what we're looking to do is to transfer about $50,000, $50,000 from our checking account into a one-year CD account that's paying 4.5%. So right now we're getting virtually nothing in our checking account. So we want to move that $50,000 over to a one-year CD. And then we'll look at the end of the year, maybe we'll be in a position, hopefully maybe to do another $50,000 if all goes well. To recap, so we've raised our giving by 7% above budget. That's 14% over prior year. We reduced our spending by $9,000, 6% below budget. We've reaped a net operating account surplus of $34,000. We replenished our restoration account by $10,000. And we've recorded bank balances of $246, which is up $44,000 from prior year this time. Anybody have any questions? John? Not any longer. We used to have them there, and then, well, interest rates went to zero, you know, and then we, 5.5? Yeah, I've seen it advertised, yeah. It's kind of messy when we start to use other banks and we have to open up new accounts these days. They make it very difficult for, and I know we had that issue when we tried to open the tenant security account with another bank. It was very involved. And so the fact that we're already at Wells Fargo with our checking account, and hopefully it won't be too, just opening a different account under the same institution. Anybody have any other questions, comments? If not, turn it back over to Rob. Faster.
All right, thank you for sticking with us here so far. Time for the pastoral report. A few things I want to say just to start, you know, and I feel like I say this every time, and I mean it every time. This church is not about me, it is about you. And you do so much to make this church go. I mean, you've heard that in everyone's reporting so far, and I just want to say thank you. It's in many ways, it's easy to be the pastor here because you guys do so much. And so, thank you, and you do really good work. And so, thank you. I don't want to go for too long, but is this on? It's not on. Now it's on. Now it's on. Okay, sorry. I'm not going to repeat that. You heard it. But over the last 2 months, I did 2 funerals, one in September and one in October, both for people who used to come here a long time ago, or have kind of come here and there, but like a long time ago, or haven't been able to come in the last few years. And I didn't talk to them, of course, but I talked to their families, lots of spouses and kids and grandkids and whatnot. And what I heard in each of those 2 funerals was about the rich history of being a church, of being a community where people love one another and care for one another, and good, fun memories of being part of Sunday school and learning the faith together. And a lot of these people don't live around here, so they can't come back here, right? Or a lot of them just aren't at that place in life. But all of them looked fondly upon their time here and the community of people that they found here. And when I think about, like, my work as a pastor and the work of this church, really what my heart is and like my goal is to take the good life that has been shared here in this community for 100+ years, right? To take the good life that's been shared here and open it up to more and more people. To invite more and more people in, not to hear what I have to say necessarily, but to be part of a community that loves and cares for one another. And that's why I think over the last few months, a lot of the focus of my work has been on getting out there, doing public things, finding ways to get out into the community, to serve, to make our name known. And that's why a lot of the work that I want to keep doing is about that. Being able to go out to meet people, or doing events here that are invitational, where you can invite people to come here, to share the life that this church has. Because it's a good life. You know, God has put this church on the corner of 3rd and East Highlands a long time ago for a good purpose. And while a lot of other churches, unfortunately, are having a difficult time, we, in many ways, are not having a difficult time. Our financial outlook is so strong. Our people outlook is so strong. I really believe, with all of, I wouldn't be here if not, that like God has really good work for us to continue to do, and sometimes to start doing afresh. And it's a pleasure to be a part of it. I'm excited about all the stuff that we see happening with missions and evangelism, all those chances to serve outside of the community. It's really good stuff. I think stuff with kids is going well. This whole team idea, it's a new thing, and thankfully we have some grant money to make it work. But I'm excited about having an opportunity to reach young adults, you know, to reach emerging adults who don't have a place to go. All the work that we're doing as, I'm not doing it, but as the trustees are doing it, like listening to like the quotes and soliciting quotes and meeting people here, and it's a big job. And you're all doing it really well. And I think it glorifies God, and I think it honors God, and it serves us, and in a bigger sense, it serves the community around us. And really, my pastoral report is to say thank you, and to continue doing this good work that God has given us to do. There are some places to get involved that I think are important with the greeting team and with the connections team, as Michelle talked about. There's certainly places to get involved with kids and with youth. There will be places to get involved and to serve in different ways with the missions and evangelism projects we have coming up. And it's exciting because there's a lot of new people who we see here on Sunday mornings who are stepping in to get involved. One of the things that we didn't mention with the trustees, I suppose we should have, is one of the guys from AA contacted me a few weeks ago and said, one of our AA guys, he has a business in Lincroft that's closing. Do you want a bunch of free stuff? And I said, we'd like to give a bunch of stuff to the church if you can take it. And so I said, yeah, sure, we'll come take a look at it. And he had, tables and chairs and a conference table and TVs and all kinds of stuff. And so yesterday we rented a box truck, and me and Matt Jensen over there, and Steve Cesarski, who was over here, and Jamie, who is a newer guy. we all got together and we rented this box truck and we went to go pick up all this furniture. It was great, and we delivered it here. If you go into the basement, there's like 40 new chairs down there, or 50 new chairs down there. There's a bunch of like rolling tables that look phenomenal. If you go into the craft room, we have a new conference table. That's like a nice new conference table. We got a bunch of free TVs out of it, which is pretty nice. We can start putting those up and replacing some stuff. And it was good. I say all that partially to update you. When you go to the basement, you'll be like, where are these chairs from? Well, that's where they're from. But also just to say, people who are new and who are not so connected into the lifeblood of the church are getting involved and are serving, and it's a really good thing. And so we're just looking forward to more and more of that as time goes on. I'm excited about what we have coming up, this prayer series. I'm really excited for everything we do during the Christmas season. I think it's just wonderful. And then for the new year, I want us, so we're kind of focusing on prayer right now. For the new year, I want us to take a turn and kind of focus on Scripture a little bit differently. So I'll have a series that kind of gives a good overview of the Bible and whatnot. And then I'm playing around with an idea, and I think I want to do this idea to offer like a yearly Bible reading plan. So that, you know, like I know a lot of people read their Bibles every day or maybe struggle to or somewhere, you know, in that spectrum. I wanted to offer a Bible reading plan where all of us together, if you want to, of course, could be reading the same scripture, the same passages, so that we'll kind of be on the same page and can read together. It'll be the kind of thing that's optional, of course. You don't have to do that to be a part of the church, but something I want to do to kind of focus our attention on Scripture and go from there. That's a little bit about the next few months in the future. Any questions? It's been a bit of a long meeting, so you're wise not to ask questions. No questions online. All right, it's time for any new business, but for that, I'm going to throw it back to our fearless moderator, Rob. Thank you.
Fearless, thank you. Michelle, I've tripped up the stairs. It happens. All to accept the reports, do I have? We got the Russells. We got Ruth. We got plenty. Thank you. All that are with? Any opposed? Thank you. Any new business? No? Other business? I was going to mention the whole thing about yesterday. Thank you for bringing that up, because it really, you know, Pastor Matt asked me, Bart, and you know, not to, but Bart and I always get asked when it's muscle work. And I was loaded with work yesterday of my own, and Bart had a wedding. So, and it's just, I'm so thankful for other people, new people stepping up. So thank you guys. Thank you, Steve, who's at the gym right now, and Jamie, thank you guys. Now off for the date for the next meeting. I think that's where you should maybe also jump in. That'd be awesome. I'm looking. That's how we do it. Jean knows. She knows better than me. All for it? Yeah. All for? Any opposed? And again, I strongly encourage, pray, ask God, even ask us, where can I fit to help? And thank you all, and I think we're good to close in prayer. Lord God, thank you for this meeting. Thank you for everyone who participates. Thank you for everyone who's doing things, whether it be seen or not, Just like we learned in the sermon today about praying. It's not about other people seeing us doing it, but it's for you seeing it. And if it's an example where we are seen doing things, let it be to your glory. Let it be known to them that we're doing it for you and not for our own personal attention. Again, thank you so much for this meeting and how well it went, and that we're all looking to you. And we go from here on out to continue to be like you, not just on Sunday, but all the time. In your name, amen. Go eat.